it's fitting. I've started the women's ice hockey question, so I'll be reporter. Volleyball question, I'll be reporter
too. That is how they design it, yeah.
What creates offense?
Defense.
What creates defense?
Offense.
No, the goal in the back of the net.
So you're crazy. I like you, but you're crazy because
at least if you're going to pick a trap game, pick the right ones.
Little fast footwork. I know your feet don't move that fast.
Brady, that's all flash, no cash. She didn't net it in the back of the net. That's not even a goal.
What are you doing coming out, Ryan?
Brady.
Are you ready for some debate? This Bobcat Breakdown starts right now.
Welcome to Studio 125 for this semester's first episode of Bobcat Breakdown. I'm your host, Christina Tsimenis, and alongside me is Beckett, Calkins, and Thomas Curtis. How excited are we to kick off this season of Bobcat Breakdown?
Thomas, I'm thrilled. No one else I would rather be on desk with than you.
We did it once already. I can't wait to do it again.
Let's jump right into our debate. The field hockey team defeated Holy Cross 2-1 on Friday and shut out Bucknell University 2-0 in their home opener on Sunday. With this, the team is 2-0 to start the season for the first time since 2012. What do we think this team needs to do on Friday to get to 3-0? Let's start with our field hockey beat reporter, Thomas.
First, let me say, what a great weekend to start for field hockey. After a tough year last year, 2 wins matches their season total. It's really impressive, and I'm excited to see where they're going to go. This weekend, they travel to Maine. It's a 6-hour drive. They've got 2 games in Orono. UMaine's 0-2. They played Indiana and Boston College. Boston College ranked 8th in the nation. Then they play Stonehill on Saturday, also 0-2 to lesser competition in Northeastern and Bryant. So I could see a split this weekend because Maine has played that tougher competition, that ACC, that Big Ten competition, and nationally ranked competition is nothing to joke about. So I would say that win comes Saturday, against Stonehill, but they lose this first one after a 6-hour drive all the way up there on Friday.
Thomas, you're familiar with that drive to Maine. Our fellow Maine native over here, Thomas Curtis. Thomas, the question was, what does the field hockey team need to do to get to 3-0? They simply need to do what they did 2 years ago and defeat the Maine Black Bears. They need to continue to play good midfield. The midfield is their game, and they've really had a lot of rotating faces in that midfield. Losses of players like Olivia Howard, Juliana Capella, and Michaela Grajales 2 years ago in that midfield have opened bigger roles for players like Lauren Keat. She needs to continue her strong play, and this team has utilized the give and goes in the midfield. They've been spot on so far this season. That was not always the case last year. It was a struggle. They did not have people in that midfield to step up and create scoring opportunities. Now they're controlling possession, retaining that possession more often, and creating quality chances on the offensive end. But one more thing that I think they need to do to get to 3-0, another X factor, that would be Christina Torres. Torres started 2 years ago against Maine. That was a 2-0 Bobcats win in 2023. And she made 11 saves in a shutout win, 11 saves. The opposing goalkeeper from Maine in that game had 1 save. So it was 11-1. Bobcats won that 2-0. She's always been a star, and now it finally seems like she also has that defense that's supporting her.
Yeah, her senior year is going to be a good one if the defense keeps it up like they did this weekend.
That was some great debate, but sticking with field hockey, sophomore midfielder Francisca Escoyes has 2 goals and 1 assist for a total of 3 points in 2 games so far. Is Escoyes the best fall athlete on campus? Beckett, let's hear what you think.
I think absolutely. She is a stud. She is the team's leading scorer out of the defensive midfield. She's shown elite stick handling ability, and the team's chemistry around her has been fantastic. She plays like players that have already moved on from this program, Amelia Mazzarelli and Stella Titmeyer. They have been fantastic, and she's shown that she can play with 1, 2, 3, 4 defenders surrounding her. She is that good. I don't really think there are any other athletes in the fall on Quinnipiac's campus that can compete, that are that good at their own individual sport. The only other real choice would be Elena Giacomini. She's good, but she creates a lot of errors. She had 247 total errors last season.
As a freshman last year at Escoyes, I'm going to go ahead and completely agree with you. As a field hockey beat reporter, I see it firsthand. Last year, she was all Big East second team. Coming over from Italy, it was her first season in the U.S., and she was really impressive. And what I take away from it is Nina Klein is going to rely on her to playmake. You said that they didn't have much playmaking last season, and it's going to be her in the midfield getting that ball to Lauren Keat, getting that ball to a couple new first years, which I'm excited about, which we'll talk about later. She was everywhere. On defense, on offense, her stick was on the ball a majority of the game, and I think it's Francisca Escoyes by a runaway for me on this campus.
And when you see this question, right, is Escoyes the best fall athlete on campus? To be the best fall athlete on campus, you need to jump out, right? You need to stand out in your own individual sport. Who do you think who do you think your best player would be if it wasn't Escoes? Who else jumps out to you?
I'd go back to volleyball. Like you mentioned, I had that same thing written down. It's Elena Giacomini. She was the MAC Player of the Year last season, and the only reason I didn't go with her was because she has that team around her. Last season, Escoes field hockey went 2-15, 2-16.
The lone bright spot, or one of the few bright spots on that team.
Exactly. When you go to Giacomini, she's got a big supporting cast, and Kyle Robinson's always going to have volleyball ready to go.
Team's a wagon. We'll talk more about that later.
So I'm going Escoes from the field hockey team.
I definitely agree with you guys, but we have to head to our first commercial break. When we return, Beckett and Thomas will give us their tier list for how hyped they are for the fall sports teams. Stay tuned.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies. Because when people are fed, futures are nourished. Everyone deserves to live a full life. And with your help, together we can end hunger. Join the movement at feedingamerica.org/act now.
You're not gonna get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
Welcome back to Bobcat Breakdown. As we jump straight into this new semester, there's already a ton of buzz around fall sports teams. Beckett and Thomas are going to give us each a tier list based on how hyped they are for Quinnipiac fall sports teams. Beckett, start us off.
Yeah, I'm going to start with my Tier C. Tier C, I'm mildly excited for these programs, or really just this program. I only have one team in my C tier, and that's rugby. I think this is a fair spot to put rugby, Thomas. I don't think you'll disagree with this one. They lost 59-0 in their first match, and that's really all I have to say. I don't think you can take one game to kind of be the memorable moment of the entire season, but 59-0 in your season opener, that's enough for me to put them just a step lower than the rest. I'll jump into my B tier. Both soccer programs in B tier, men's soccer and women's soccer. I think men's soccer, they have a lot more promise than they did maybe last year or 2 years ago, but they can't quite put it all together. They just lost to Stony Brook, who had 3 wins all of last season. 3 wins. Women's soccer also less buzz than usual, tons of roster turnover, 9 first years, and a transfer. They should still be very, very, very competitive in the MAC. And cross country. Men's, they have a lot of first years. Their program, it's slowly building, but like men's soccer, right? There just doesn't feel like they're quite there yet. So, kind of on the come up, but not quite in that A tier for me. And then I also have women's cross country in that same tier. They're chasing their 4th straight MAC championship, so I very easily could have put them in the A tier, but I reserved the A tier for just a couple programs. As I round out the B tier with field hockey, I know that's your squad. Promising start, but I think like you, not fully buying it yet. I think there's a lot of reliance on Torres in goal for them and that midfield that needs to show that they can play throughout an entire season. Now my A tier, 2 programs. First, golf. This is a team that has almost the entire same roster as last season. They won the MAC 4 out of the last 5 seasons. So that's huge that they're returning all those key players. And then my team that I highlighted right there is volleyball. It's the last year of the core 4 really that helped them win the MAC title in 2022. Both of the Ganesh twins, Generva Giovagnoni, Melina Silva, Alina Giacomini. She was last year's Player of the Year and this year's preseason Player of the Year. This team's looking to be fully healthy finally, after Generva's injury and Joe Vagnoni, Giacomini both being back. That's just huge. So their biggest problem last year, it was just not enough depth. You see that from a lot of these teams at the mid-major level. With them healthy, plus the new first years, it solved that issue. Tons of experience, and this is a team that could easily live up to its fullest potential, Thomas.
We'll go right to my list. I think we are. And we're starting back in the C tier. I've got men's soccer. Like you mentioned, they just haven't put it together. I don't see where I could get excited about this squad yet.
Thomas, I'm going to stop you real quick. I would have been mad at that, but they just lost to Stony Brook. So honestly, I made this list before they lost to Stony Brook. That is a terrible loss.
A couple of tough losses over the weekend as well. I don't see how I could be excited about them yet. I mean, right now, maybe in October they turn it around and I'll be surprised. Rugby, I also have in the C tier. It's
no arguments there.
59-0. They lost 3 games to end their year last year. They were exciting at the start of last season, but kind of fell off just a little bit. I've got men's cross country here. Like you said, a bunch of new first years. And cross country, how much buzz does that bring to campus?
I agree. Doesn't bring a lot of buzz, but this is a team that they've shown they're steadily improving. So I had them just a notch up.
And I've got golf as well.
Yeah, this one's outrageous.
I've got golf here in C tier at the end of C tier on the graphic.
This is a team that's returning almost everybody, including the MAC Rookie and Player of the Year from last year's MAC Championship team. Not just last year. They've shown it's been a half decade of dominance in the conference from this golf team, Thomas. And you have them in the C tier. What are we doing?
I'm
4 out of the last
expecting
5
a
years they've won the
championship at this
championship.
point. I'm expecting it. Their baseline,
Okay, if
they're
that's
C
the
tier.
expectation,
I'm
why are they at
expecting
the
a
bottom?
championship. Because I know what they're going to do. They're going to go out and win the MAC championship.
Do championships not matter to you?
Not in golf.
Wow. Bogey.
In the B tier, we're going to move on here to women's soccer. Like you said, they've got some turnover, but they've had a tough conference schedule, and it's got people a little bit not disoriented, but you know what I'm saying.
Like I said, the buzz feels like it's kind of down for that women's soccer program with a lot of roster turnover. And right now, it's a team that's shown they can win, but I can see them in the B tier.
And it's the non-conference schedule that scares people a little bit, but like Dave Clark always says, he doesn't really care. He wants to be battle-tested in the non-conference, and they're going to go in.
He treats them like preseason games.
Exactly, and they're going to be great in MAC play. Volleyball, I'm excited about. Like, I have one team in my A tier, so I've got volleyball here in the B tier. They're going to compete. They've got players all over the place. I mean, you went in depth on it because that's your A tier.
Can I ask you what kept them from being an A tier team? Because I know I had 2 teams in A tier, and you have neither one of those same teams in A tier. So very different thoughts here.
I've got one team in A tier, and I'm just going to spoil it. We're going to go to the A tier. It's field hockey because I'm excited to see how this field hockey team progresses from 2 wins last season. They've already matched that total. If they can take the first years from last year that progressed a little bit, I'm just excited to see how this is a make or break year for Nina Klein and company. It's her 3rd year. They haven't been great in her first 2 years. I'm excited to see how that storyline, if there's any urgency on that staff.
We'll see, but Thomas, I really I don't know how you can put them A tier right now when you've got golf in your C tier. That's a team that's shown success, right? I think that's just bias. I've covered the men's soccer team here for 4 years, 3 years as a beat reporter. I saw them win the MAC in my freshman year. That's a team that, I'm super high on, I care a lot about, right? They are not an A tier team. That's how I think you should be feeling.
Maybe I don't value the MAC championship yet as much as you do because you've seen it. I'm sitting here, I haven't seen a MAC championship in my first year yet.
The Thomas Curtis curse.
Maybe it is.
Well, those were a lot of hot takes, and I think we need a break here on DES. But stay with us because when we return, QBSN is here to recap an exciting start to the field hockey team season.
There are a lot of temptations facing young people today, like electronic cigarettes and skateboarding. Each vape pod can contain the same amount of nicotine as a pack of cigarettes. This can lead today's youth to a lifelong addiction and severe lung damage. Recall and consider the facts before making a poor decision.
The health class film guy isn't the best person to talk to your kid about vaping.
Got a few minutes?
You are. Start the conversation with your child about vaping today.
Gracie and Pedro might not get along so well.
You're standing on my tail.
But there's one thing they agree on. There's a right seat for everyone.
Oh, that
That's the good stuff.
Whether you're a dog,
Hold on, Pooch.
a cat, a fish, or a rat.
And I'm a ferret.
Be sure to travel safe.
How can you be so sure? I'm absolutely positive.
On your next adventure, make sure your children are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
Welcome back to Bobcat Breakdown. If you're just joining us, I'm Christina Tsimenis, joined alongside Beckett, Calkins, and Thomas Curtis. The women's soccer and field hockey teams played at home this past weekend, which meant our friends at QBSN were back in action. Here's how it sounded for those listening at home, and you might just hear a familiar voice.
Things can be lofted over that large cement wall on the far side. Syracuse now, open space. Hoyt, one-on-one, a shot saved by Hoyt, back to the orange. Assistant coaches from each side there over where that kick was going to be taken. Corner kick inside, Alves gets a boot on it, and that will find the back of the net. Maddie Alves.
Brower sends it in, left for Shanahan, across for Esquias, holds it to the top of the circle, takes a shot, not much on it, loose in front, they score! Tipped in by Keat, picked it up on the door, sends it back over to Shanahan. Shanahan looking towards the middle, in, and a shot, scores! A bouncing play there. Rose Marsden Van Koolen gets her first as a Bobcat.
Let's continue the debate. You guys talked about your excitement for the 8 fall sports on campus, many of which have brought in first years as well as transfers. Which new fall athlete are you guys most excited for this year? Thomas, let's start with you.
Let's go with the goal scorer from the field hockey team, Rose Van Koolen from
All
Naarden,
field
the
hockey.
Netherlands.
It's all field hockey. It's all field hockey. Learn another sport. Learn another sport.
She scored a tough backhand goal in the fourth quarter of the Bucknell game, made it 2-0. She sealed that game for them. If you saw the clip, it was great. She had a couple other opportunities on the offensive end, and I was surprised with her involvement from her first year on the offensive side. If she can, I don't know if she's going to keep up the scoring, but if she can keep up just having an impact, it'll be good for Nina Klein's squad.
Thomas, the new fall athlete that I'm excited for, I'm going to go to the women's soccer team. I'm not even choosing my men's soccer team. Addison Earl transferred in from UNC Charlotte. She didn't play that much at UNC Charlotte. Only 151 minutes there total. She's played 90 minutes in 3 of the 4 games so far. She has 5 shots on goal through those first 4 games and assisted in the only goal against Stony Brook. She's also from West Granby, Connecticut. This is kind of a homecoming for Earl. And you could see that her coming back to Connecticut might make her more comfortable, and she's obviously gaining that larger role. Now, Thomas, don't come after me here. I know you've talked a lot about field hockey. I'm going to take this moment to talk about men's soccer just for a minute, right? I'm also very excited for Tyga Matoba. He's one of the first years on Quinnipiac men's soccer, and Eric DaCosta won't throw a first year into a key role right away. He started the team's first 2 games, played another 60 minutes today against Stony Brook, and he has shown that he's earned the trust of his head coach, as has Sindri Sigurd-Johnson. He's another new player for that men's soccer program that's very notable. He's a first year from Iceland. He's just 5'7", a fellow short king like yourself. He played 50 minutes and 48 minutes in the first 2 games, and then nearly 20 more minutes today, 68 minutes, so he's getting that bigger role. But overall, I will choose Addison Earl out of UNC Charlotte coming into the Quinnipiac women's soccer program.
I can't believe when you read 5'7", all you thought about was me. I really appreciate it.
You're on my mind.
When I heard 5'7", I thought of new basketball player Ty Turnage. It was, I mean, those are all great players, and I'm glad you got to talk about your men's soccer because you're really excited about me talking about field hockey. People should talk about what they know. I know field hockey, you know men's soccer, so I'm glad we're talking about it.
I didn't even choose them, though. You like to have a backup plan, a little honorable mention selection. You ever heard of that? It's awesome, right? The only reason I didn't choose them is the eye test, right? Earl, she's passed the eye test. I was on the call you just saw at that game against Syracuse. with Anthony Rossi. That was a fantastic game to be on the call for, and Earl showed out in that game. I haven't seen Matoba or Sigurd Johnson yet, just enough from them. So I just want to be able to see that in person for before they are atop this list for me. It's got to be Addison Earl.
So we both took players that we saw over the weekend. And
That's
you're
true.
coming after me for just keeping at the field hockey.
Hey, I had to branch out away from the men's soccer program to the women's soccer program. And guess what? You were at field hockey. To each his own.
Well, to wrap up this episode's debate, let's dive into the men's soccer team's season entering today. In the first game of their season, they were defeated by the University of Pittsburgh 0-1 in Pennsylvania. Then on Thursday, the team lost to UMass Amherst by a score of 2-5, also on the road. After starting the season off with an 0-2 record, what aspect of this men's soccer team are you more confident in to help this team succeed? Beckett, since you're a men's soccer beat reporter, why don't you start us off?
I mean, now 0-3 after losing to Stony Brook. So, I mean, I had him in my B tier before that. Thomas dropped him into C tier, not to go back to that, but fair play there, right? Losing to Stony Brook, unacceptable. A team that won just 3 games last year. What aspect of the team makes me most confident? You might laugh at this. You might laugh at it. It's the defense. And I know. Some of these games high scoring 3-0 today. They lost 5-2 to UMass. Like, not pretty scores. But all last year and the year before, the team struggled to score goals. The defense was relatively steady. I'm not worried about the small 1-2 game sample size so far this season where the defense was horrendous. We saw in 2022, my freshman year, they won the MAC. And in that season, the offense was this team's calling card. I mean, they were absolutely fantastic, scoring 56 goals. They were among the nation's leaders across all NCAA Division I soccer programs in 2022 with 56 goals. Now, 20 goals and 31 goals in the last 2 years since that. They've allowed, on the defensive side, mid-20 goals in each of those years, including 2022. So that has stayed steady with their success and lack of success. What hasn't stayed steady is the amount of goals they're scoring. This offense hasn't shown me anything. The defense is what I'm confident in.
3 games into this season, I think the question should be, what am I confident in? I haven't seen anything out of the men's soccer team, really. And losing Carl Netzel last year in net, I'm scared how are they going to goalkeep. I mean, they've given up 9 goals through 3 games.
Yep.
3 goals a game, you're not going to win many soccer games, and I'm not even a soccer guy. They're returning a couple goal scorers, William Holm, Francisco Ferrara, and Andrew Montesserin. I know they didn't score a lot of goals last season or the year before, but at least returning some guys gives me more confidence in that side of the ball than on the defensive side. Maybe in the defensive alignment, but the goalkeeper scares me a lot when it comes to soccer.
Goalkeeper was certainly a question mark after Carl Netzel announced that he was going to transfer. They lost 3-0 today with Emilio Balderrama back in goal for them. He was benched in that UMass game for Nick Cardona. Cardona missed the majority of last season. Played 22 minutes in that UMass game and had a much better stat line than Balderrama, but Eric DaCosta going with Emilio Balderrama once again today. So it seems like he's going to be the guy, but I do agree. You know, Carl Netzel, a former MAC goalkeeper of the year, he's a guy that showed out, started as a freshman, and took this team to the NCAA tournament as a freshman just 3 years ago. He's gone, new face in net, and guess what? I'm still most confident in that defense. This team can't score goals. I mean, that's the... To win, you cannot win 0-0, right?
Nope.
You have to score goals. I'm confident in the defense. We saw them last year. They found their way into the MAC playoffs because of the amount of draws they had in conference play. This is around a 500 team last season, and they could play with anybody, but they couldn't really outscore many teams. Oftentimes it was a ticky-tack header or something found its way into the goal that just wasn't really your typical, flashy soccer goal at the Division I level. This is a team that needs to find out how to score goals.
I'm so sorry to cut you off, but it's time for our final commercial break of the night, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, we'll be giving our final roars. Stay tuned.
Can't believe you're doing this alone. I've done it before. I remember. You threw your back out. How you holding up? Hand me that board. Nothing wrong with getting help. I'm good. I did it when Felicia left. I'll figure it out. I know you will, but you don't have to do it alone. That's all I'm saying. If I promise to look into it, will you drop it and help me build this fence? Now you need my help. It can be a real pain sometimes, you know that? Mm-hmm.
If you or a veteran you know needs support, don't wait. Reach out. Find resources at va.gov/reach. Life's daily battles are not meant to be fought alone.
We're not powerless, so long as we don't lose sight of what's important.
Don't be afraid to seize that moment to talk to your friends.
Cloud, you okay?
Because checking in on a friend can create a safe space.
The first step on our new journey. You coming?
Reach out to a friend about their mental health. Seize the awkward. It's totally worth it.
Everyone has a ritual, that small thing that keeps us focused. A habit we never skip to clear our minds and elevate our performance.
But what do you do to keep your head in the game, to drown out the self-doubt and support your mental health? Because being your best isn't just about taking care of your body.
It's about taking care of your mind and mental health. Discover the resources you need to keep your mind focused and your mental health a priority.
Welcome back to Bobcat Breakdown. It's time for our final roars. I'll start us off. With the start of a new school year, new opportunities arise for everyone. For first-year and transfer student athletes, this fresh start means an opportunity to make an impact on their team. The same goes for newcomers to student media. As a sophomore in Q30, my advice for first years is to take every opportunity that comes your way. I know that it can be intimidating to join a student media organization at first, but it's as easy as showing up. This can lead to so many more exciting possibilities in the future. Sometimes the opportunities you get can be surprising or unexpected. I thought of myself as someone who only wanted to work in sports, but when the opportunity to become an associate producer for the Q30 newscast came up, I took it. It's easy to put yourself in a box, but trying everything available is a great way to learn new things about yourself. It's safe to say that this past year in student media has been the best experience I could ask for. I can't wait to see how everyone gets involved this year.
Late August is a time of mass change for a majority of new high school graduates, beginning their next endeavor after a familiar routine their first 18 years of their life. When I moved in as a first year, I was constantly asking myself, am I doing this right? But the thing nobody tells you is that there's no right way to go about a change like starting college. The one thing you can do is go out and do anything. Nothing is permanent, and trying something new doesn't mean you have to do it for the rest of your life. Join a club you're not sure about. Say hi to someone you don't know. Say yes to a plan that's outside your comfort zone. If you are doing something, you're doing it right. Change is scary, but replacing the question, what if it goes wrong, with what if it all works out, will allow you to adjust to a new normal.
This past weekend, I chose to do what many across the country did, tune in to college football. But as a Quinnipiac student, I don't have a home team to root for. Quinnipiac has plenty of resources and has shown willingness in recent years to invest not only in athletics, but the student experience. Why not add a football team to the mix along with the 21 other Division I sports Quinnipiac has to offer? Imagine a college football game day experience right here in Hamden, Connecticut. Smaller mid-major schools nearby like Central Connecticut and Sacred Heart, they each have a football program at the Division I FCS level. So why does Quinnipiac not? Former athletic director Jack McDonald put it very bluntly when talking to the Quinnipiac Chronicle in 2007. Quote, everything Quinnipiac does is top shelf. To have a top shelf football program, it would require an investment of maybe $250 million, end quote. While public schools like CCSU receive some government funding to help support the football program, Quinnipiac would not, setting up an easy conclusion, simply put. The only reason Quinnipiac doesn't have a football program is money. A small investment could play a big reward for the university, both in terms of exposure and community around the school. It's a risk, and one the leaders at Quinnipiac would have to take. But with the success of other programs around campus, especially in recent years, why couldn't the Bobcats see success on the gridiron?
Now, since we still have some time left, which fall sports team do you guys have the most confidence in to win a championship?
I'm going with women's cross country.
Oh,
They've won 3
I
in a
was
row.
bracing for field hockey.
They've won 3 in a row, and they're going to get their 4th this season. If I had to answer that question with a MAC championship that I haven't seen yet in my time at Quinnipiac, I'm going women's cross country.
Let's go to Thomas's C tier and get the golf team out of C, move them up to A again. This is a team that could easily win the MAC once again. 4 in the last 5. Why not make it 5 of the last 6? You got the reigning MAC Rookie and Player of the Year, and that whole entire squad really is back. They're looking to win this conference, and I have faith. You said it, right? You expect that out of them.
I do.
You expect them to win the conference. then how are we not picking them here? They're going to win the conference.
Okay, well, that's all the time we have for Bobcat Breakdown this week. Thank you for tuning in on our first episode of the semester. And thank you to all the producers and everyone working hard behind the scenes. Stay up to date on Quinnipiac Sports and make sure to follow us on Instagram and X at Q30 Sports and check out our website at Q30TV.com. For Beckett, Calkins, and Thomas Curtis, I'm Christina Tsimenis. Have a great night, Bobcats.